In the vibrant village of Tega, where the sun kissed the earth and the birds sang songs of the morning, lived a woman named Amani. She was beautiful, with skin the color of rich mahogany and eyes that sparkled like stars. Amani was the daughter of the wealthiest family in the village, inheriting lands, cattle, and a thriving business. But deep within her, Amani harbored a secret. After visiting healers and doctors for years, she had discovered she could not bear children. The weight of this truth pressed on her heart like a boulder. In her culture, children were seen as a blessing, the very essence of a woman's legacy. Amani feared that this inability would leave her incomplete in the eyes of her community, and more painfully, in her own eyes. As Amani grew older, many men came to seek her hand in marriage. One day, a man named Kofi arrived, a handsome farmer with a reputation for strength and ambition. His smile was charming, and his words were sweet as honey. He promised Amani a bright future, filled with happiness and prosperity. For a moment, Amani thought her prayers had been answered. But soon, Kofi's true intentions surfaced. He often spoke of her wealth and the influence it could bring him, rather than of love or family. Amani realized that Kofi did not see her, but only the riches that surrounded her. She ended the courtship, her heart heavier but wiser, knowing that her journey to find love was far from over. Months passed, and Amani focused on her work and her community, trying to drown out the whispers of her future. But loneliness crept in like a shadow. She often visited the village healer, Mama Shani, a wise old woman who had delivered countless babies and cured the sick. Mama Shani saw Amani's sadness and offered words of comfort, telling her, "Child, love is not always about what we can give. Sometimes, it is about what we can nurture in others." These words stayed with Amani, but the ache in her heart only grew stronger. Would any man truly love her for who she was, without expecting the family she could not provide? Could she ever find peace in a world that measured her worth by the children she bore? One evening, as the village prepared for a festival, a new face appeared. His name was Jabri, a traveler who had come to Tega in search of work and a place to call home. Jabri was humble and kind, with eyes that seemed to hold a deep understanding of the world. He found work on Amani's farm, tending to the animals and helping her manage the land. At first, Amani thought little of him beyond his work. But over time, she noticed something different about Jabri. He never asked about her wealth or her family, and his words were always filled with kindness and respect. Slowly, Amani began to feel something stir in her heart, a feeling she had long since buried. Days turned into weeks, and Amani and Jabri spent more time together. They talked late into the night, sharing stories of their lives, their dreams, and their fears. Jabri spoke of his travels, of the people he had met, and the lessons he had learned along the way. Amani, for the first time in years, spoke openly about her inability to have children. Jabri listened carefully, and when she finished, he took her hand and said, "Amani, your worth is not measured by what you cannot give. You are a woman of strength, kindness, and beauty. That is all I see, and that is all I need." For the first time, Amani felt seen, not as the wealthy daughter, not as the woman who could not bear children, but as herself. One cool evening, under the starry African sky, Jabri knelt before Amani and asked her to be his wife. His proposal was simple and heartfelt. "I love you, Amani, not for what you have or what you cannot give, but for who you are. I want to build a life with you, whether we have children or not." Amani's heart swelled with joy and relief. Tears streamed down her face as she realized she had found the love she had always dreamed of, the love that saw her, understood her, and cherished her. She said yes, and in that moment, Amani knew that her journey, though long and painful, had led her to the place she was always meant to be. As Jabri and Amani began their life together, the village watched in awe. They were a picture of happiness, not because of the wealth Amani had or the traditional roles they fulfilled, but because of the deep, unbreakable bond they shared. Though Amani could not have children of her own, she and Jabri opened their hearts and home to orphans and children in need. The children brought laughter and light into their home, filling it with the love Amani had always longed for. In her heart, she knew that family wasn't just about blood, it was about love, kindness, and the bonds we choose to create. The years passed, and Amani and Jabri's family grew, not in the traditional sense, but in the love they gave to the children they cared for. One day, something miraculous happened. A young girl they had adopted, named Zee, stood by Amani's side and said, "Mama, you have given me life. You are my mother, and nothing can change that." Amani's heart burst with pride and joy. In that moment, she knew that love had truly found her, not just through Jabri, but through the children she had come to call her own. Though her journey had been filled with heartache and trials, it had led her to the most profound happiness she could ever have imagined. The seasons changed, and with them, the winds of fortune blew even stronger for Amani and Jabri. Their farm flourished, their children grew, and the love between them deepened. Word of their generosity spread far and wide, and people began to come from neighboring villages to seek their advice and blessings. Amani had once feared that her life would be incomplete without children of her own. Now, she realized that her legacy was not in the children she bore, but in the love she gave. She had found her true purpose, and with it, peace. Amani's life had taken many unexpected turns, but in the end, she had found the love, family, and happiness she had always dreamed of. Jabri remained by her side, their bond unshakable, and together they continued to nurture their family and community. And so, under the same stars that had once witnessed her tears, Amani now smiled, knowing that she had lived a life of meaning, love, and fulfillment.